It was on January 21 in 1799 that Edward Jenner introduced his version of the smallpox vaccine. It had long been known, in the dairy industry, that milkmaids who had gotten the cowpox did not get smallpox. And it was common knowledge that anyone who had survived smallpox could attend to those who were suffering from the illness. Back in Jenner's day, it was common practice to experiment on prisoners and orphans. The prisoners gave consent, with the positive assurance that they would be pardoned if they lived. The orphans were not so lucky. If they lived, they were still orphans. There is much historical evidence that smallpox has been around for more than 10,000 years. It shows up in artwork, as scars on mummies and mummified corpses, and in ancient text. Smallpox was everywhere that humans lived, except the Americas, and it did not discriminate among classes. When the Europeans arrived in the Americas, they infected the natives unintentionally and intentionally. The latter was one of the first examples of biological warfare, as intentionally infected blankets were given as gifts. During medieval times, many herbal remedies, as well as cold treatment and special cloths, were used to either prevent or treat smallpox. One doctor, in the 1600s, treated his patients by allowing no fire in the room, leaving the windows permanently open, drawing the bedclothes no higher than the patient's waist, no matter the sex, and administering 1 beer every 2 hours. The most successful way of combating smallpox before the discovery of vaccination was something called inoculation. The word is derived from the Latin inoculate, meaning to graft. Inoculation, in other words, referred to the removal of stuff from a ripe pustule of the smallpox virus and grafting it into someone who was not immune. If the patient lived, then he or she was immune. If the person died, then that's just the way that it was. Vaccines are sort of like seatbelts. That is, they almost always work. In the last 40 years, I have asked many a police officer, "Have you ever unbuckled a dead person?" To which the reply is almost always no. Yes, there are isolated cases wherein a seatbelt hindered a person's escape from a burning automobile, but those cases are exceedingly rare. Holistically, seatbelts save lives. Vaccines do too. When is the last time you knew of anyone having smallpox, polio, tetanus, diphtheria, mumps, measles, whooping cough, or meningitis? Yes, I am concerned about the long-term side effects of the vaccine for the COVID-19 virus. I am, however, well acquainted with the short-term effects of the COVID-19 virus. I will not be taking the shot for me. I will be taking it for you. Encourage others to get the vaccine too.